In this video, I will show you how you will update manually updated indicators. A number of indicators will be updated manually. However, this value will have to be checked by two persons before they are displayed in the public web page. Each indicator has data entry and validator user nominated. In order to explain this procedure, we will use the public budget allocated on education over the GDP indicator as an example of a manually updated indicator. When it is time to update an indicator for what you're responsible for, you will receive a timing to update value email from the PAF system. You will receive a separate email for North Macedonia and another email for the benchmark countries. In this case, I've received two new emails, one email for North Macedonia and another email for European Union. In order to open the link of the indicator, you should be logged in on PAF first. If you're not, click on the PAF link from the email and the admin portal of PAF will be opened. Now, you should log in with your login credentials. And after you fill the fields, click on the sign in button and you will be logged in successfully in the admin portal of PAF. After you're logged in, go back to your email and now click on the Open Indicator button, whether from the first or from the second email. You will be redirected to the same place because we work with the same indicator. Click on the Open Indicator button and the General Information tab of that certain indicator will be opened. In the General Information tab, we have all the basic information about this indicator. We can see how the calculation of the values is being made. The calculation numerator, public national budget allocated on all level of education, divided by the calculation denumerator, in this case GDP, and multiplied by the additional step, if there's any, in this case multiplied by 100. Also, I just want to highlight that you will be able to modify only the values of the indicator. All other tabs will be in read-only mode, and if any changes are needed, you will need to contact the administrator. So, in order to update the values, you should switch to the Values tab. So, you will need to make the calculation of the values and to enter the values for the proper years. So, because we received two emails, one email to update the values for North Macedonia for 2020 and other email is to update the values for 2020 for European Union. I will first update the value for North Macedonia. So I've already made the calculation of the value and I will enter the value. After you enter a value, a submit button appears. In order to submit this value, you need to click on this button and this value will be sent for an approval to the validator user. In order to submit also the value for European Union, you need to switch the country through the Choose Country drop-down menu to European Union, and after that go to the empty field of 2019 value for European Union and enter the value. First, you should make the calculation about this value and then enter the value. After you enter a value, a submit button appears. Click on the submit button and this value will be sent for an approval to the validator user. Now, the validator user should receive two new emails. One email for the value for European Union and another email for the value for North Macedonia. In order to show you how a validation looks like, I will switch my role to validator user. At first moment, validator user receives two new emails. Status changed emails. It says value 4.11 for 2020 year for North Macedonia of the same indicator has been submitted by the data entry user. The other email is the same email for the same indicator but for different year and for different country, for European Union. In order to open the link of the indicator, you should be logged in on PAF first. If you're not, click on the PAF email from the email and the admin portal of PAF will be opened. Log in with your login credentials and click on the sign in button. After you're successfully logged in the admin portal, go back to your email and click on the Open Indicator button. You will be redirected to the Values tab of that certain indicator. The validator user has two options. One is to approve the value and other is to reject the value. So before you make a validation, the validator user should do again the calculation and to check the value. And if it's the correct value, just click on the approve button and approve this value. Once you click on the button, add comment section will appear. If you want, you can insert a comment. If not, click on the save button and this value will go public on the public site. In order to validate the second value for European Union, you need to switch the country to European Union through the drop-down menu, choose country. Once you're on European Union screen, find the value that is waiting for validation. Do the calculation again for this value, check if this is the correct value and make an approval or rejection. In order to show you how a rejection look like, I will reject this value. Click on the reject value and add comment section will appear. Because I'm making a rejection, I will leave comment like wrong value. After you insert the comment, click on the save button and this comment will be saved. The value will be rejected. Also an email will be sent to the data entry user. Now the data entry user should receive two new emails. I will switch again my row to data entry user to show you how the data entry user will be notified about these values. So at first moment, data entry user receives two new emails. Status change email about the approval of the value for North Macedonia. And if the data entry user click on the open indicator button, he will be redirected to the values tab of that certain indicator and he will find that the value for 2020 for North Macedonia is already approved and went public on the public site and he can't edit here anything. The other email that data entry user received is the status change rejected. It says value 4.6 of the same indicator for 2019 year for European Union has been rejected by the validator user. In the email we have the rejection reason. It's wrong value. This is the comment I've left while I was rejecting this value. And it says please make the calculation again and resubmit the value. This means that the data entry user have permission to do the calculation again and to resubmit the value for the manually updated indicators. So if you click on the open indicator button, you will be redirected to the values tab of that certain indicator, and if you switch the country to European Union, you will find the rejected value. Now the data entry user should do the calculation again about this value and enter the new value. After you enter the value, a submit button will appear. Click on the submit button and you will send again this value for an approval to the validator user. Now the validator user should receive new email that new value is being added. I will switch now my row to validator user again to show you how you will validate this value. At first moment again, the validator user receives new email that he has new value for validation. It's the new value added email and it says there is new value 4.7 for 2019 year for European Union and it says please open the indicator and validate it. So if the validator click on the open indicator button, he will be redirected to the values tab, and if you switch the country to European Union, you will find the value, the new resubmitted value waiting for an approval. He will do the calculation again, and if this is the correct value, he will approve this value by clicking on the approve button. After you click on the save button from the add comment section, this value will go public on the public site. Now the validator validated two values, approved two values, so two values went public on the public site. Again, the data entry user will be notified about the approval. I will switch my role to data entry user to show you again the approval email. It's the status changed email, and if the data entry user tries to click on the Open Indicator button from that certain email about the approval, he will be redirected to the Values tab of that certain indicator, and if he switched the country to European Union, he will find that the value for 2019 is already approved, went public, and he can't edit here anything. So now we submitted two values as a data entry user and we validated two values as a validator user. So this is the procedure of updating manually updated indicators.